We have spent many parts exposing the lies, the paid smears, and the hypocrisy of Andrew Drummond and Adam Howell. But a question remains. Why do some people still believe Andrew Drummond's lies about Bryan Flowers, even after the claims have been disproven in court? Andrew Drummond's lies persist, not because they are true, but because they feel true to the people who want to believe them. They do not want the cold, inconvenient facts. They do not want the court records, the clean certificates, the documented evidence that contradicts the narrative. They want the story that comforts their prejudices. They want Bryan Flowers to be the villain they can hate. They want the simple tale of good versus evil that allows them to feel righteous without ever having to think. And so the lie lives on. It spreads not on truth, but on the warm embrace of confirmation. It survives not because it is strong, but because the people who carry it refuse to let it die. They would rather cling to a comforting falsehood than face the discomfort of reality. When a lie is repeated often enough, when it is dressed in Andrew Drummond's language of moral outrage, when it confirms what people already wish to believe, then truth itself becomes the enemy, and the man who tells the lie becomes the hero to those who need a villain to point at. This is why the lies persist, not because they are true, but because the truth is harder. Drummond's audience, which is relatively small and self-selecting, tends to believe him for several interconnected psychological and social reasons. Firstly, because of confirmation bias and pre-existing prejudice. Many of his readers already hold negative views about Pattaya's nightlife scene and bar owners. When Drummond publishes sensational claims about trafficking, mafia, or exploitation, it confirms what they want to believe. People are far more likely to accept information that aligns with their existing worldview. Secondly, because of the illusory truth effect, also known as repetition bias. Drummond repeats the same false claims across dozens of articles, Facebook posts, and other platforms. Psychological research shows that people are significantly more likely to believe something simply because they've heard it multiple times, even if it's false. The more he repeats the lies, the more true they feel to regular readers. Thirdly, because of perceived authority and branding. Drummond still trades on his old award-winning journalist label from the 1980s. To readers who don't dig deeper, this creates an illusion of credibility. Many people don't verify sources. They trust the persona of the investigative reporter rather than checking the actual evidence, or lack of it. The fourth reason is because of sensationalism and emotional engagement. False allegations involving trafficking, child exploitation, or organised crime are highly emotional and click-worthy. True, nuanced stories are boring by comparison. Drummond's headlines are engineered to provoke outrage, and outrage drives engagement. Many readers react emotionally first and think critically later, or never. The fifth reason is the echo chamber and manufactured consensus. Drummond and Howell use sock puppet accounts and coordinated posts to create the appearance of widespread support and outrage. Regular readers see the same claims repeated across multiple sources, often the same small group of accounts, and assume, if so many people are saying it, it must be true. The sixth reason is because of low media literacy and headline-only consumption. A large portion of Drummond's audience reads only the headlines or the most sensational parts. They have never sought out the translated court documents, rebuttals, or primary evidence. Once a false narrative is established in their mind, later corrections or court rulings, such as Howell's criminal defamation conviction, are often ignored or dismissed as the system protecting the powerful. And the seventh reason, because of identity and tribal loyalty. For some readers, believing Drummond becomes part of their identity. Admitting they were wrong would require them to confront uncomfortable feelings, that they may have supported a malicious paid smear campaign. It is psychologically easier to double down than to admit they were manipulated. In summary, Drummond's audience believes him primarily because the claims confirm what they already want to believe. Repetition makes the lies feel true. He maintains a facade of journalistic authority. The stories are emotionally engaging and sensational, and his small echo chamber creates the illusion of consensus. The fact that a Thai court has already convicted Adam Howell of criminal defamation on the same false allegations about Bryan Flowers makes the continued belief in Drummond's version even more striking. It shows how powerful confirmation bias and repetition can be, even when the claims have been legally disproven. The people who still believe Andrew Drummond's stories are like people who have been told the same ghost story around a campfire every night for years. Even when someone turns on the lights and shows them there is no ghost, only shadows and imagination, many still prefer to sit in the dark and keep believing the story, because the fear feels familiar and the story feels true.